Hello, once again, I'm Alex Miceli, and it's the One Take playoff edition, right? Yeah, the playoffs. We've all been waiting. Finally, Patrick Reed doing great in New Jersey. I ain't talking about that. Let's talk about what we really want to talk about. Let's talk about the controversy that happened in New Jersey. Let's talk about the rumble that's happening between Brooks Koepka, Rory McIlroy, and in this case, Bryson DeChambeau. Even though I think he's an unfair participant in this, let's just talk about slow play. Which, wow, have we talked about slow play for a while? Yeah, I think so. It's about as long as we've talked about how long the ball goes. Thank goodness this isn't a Jack Nicklaus discussion, because we'd be here forever, and I love Jack, but the ball thing is over. Slow play, on the other hand, is front burner right now. When players start complaining about other players in public, that's a problem. That's a problem for Jay Monahan, the commissioner. That's a problem for the game in general, except for it's great for us journalists because we love controversy, right? So what are we talking about? We're talking about Rory McIlroy and Brooks Koepka calling out slow players on the PGA Tour and wondering why, in fact, the PGA Tour has not done more to at least, deal with their rules, at least enforce what the rules say. Now, on the PGA Tour's position, they'll say, well, we are enforcing them, but in some ways it's impossible. So let me just give you a quick math test here. 18 holes, 3 players a hole, 56, right? That's 56. So that means one wave is 56, 2 waves, 112. Well, guess what? Generally, you have 156 players playing, which means you have to find a way to put those other 22 on each wave through efficiently. It's impossible. It's just impossible. So the first 2 days, there's not much you can do. That's why they start early at 6:30 in the morning. That's why they finish late at night. Sometimes don't get finished at all because they have too many players. Now, your first answer would be, well, let's take the field and cut it down some. Well, what you don't seem to understand maybe in that case is that the PGA Tour is a members organization. This is all about the members. No way there's a commissioner that's going to say, you know what, we want to give you less playing privileges. No, we want to give you more playing privileges. So to turn around and cut it down is impossible. So the first 2 days are a wash. There's nothing you can really do. Now, the second 2 days, it's another question. You can look at the group that's playing, usually twosomes, and you can usually determine who the slow player is, if in fact there's a slow player. But the bottom line is everybody plays at about a 4-hour pace. So who do you call out? That's, I think, what happens there. And in Bryson DeChambeau's case, in his response or his retort to a Brooks Koepka, it was like, hey, I walk really quickly from my shot to the ball. Other people kind of, saunter along. I mean, why should I get penalized when I walk quickly and then I get there and I can't play? And then finally I can play and I take my time over the ball. Well, Brooks Koepka's argument is everybody should play fast. I don't care. Maybe it's you, maybe it's somebody else, but we got to do something. We have to do something. Rory McIlroy's like, hey, easy. One time, bad time. Second time, shot. My case is forget shot. I mean, we can go something else other than shot. Let's do FedEx Cup points. Let's immediately start taking points away. Believe me, you start taking points away, which are the currency of the PGA Tour, it will change things dramatically quickly. Now, eventually, if you have to, you can take a shot. But let's look at FedEx Cup points first. Let's not go over the top. And then, if we have to, let's look at shot. Supposedly, the Tour is looking at this. But at the end of the day, pitting player against player is something the PGA Tour does not want to see publicly done. They need to do something. They need to do something quickly. And what that is, it's not that easy. It just isn't that easy. I like Rory McIlroy's idea. Let's do something. I like Brooks Koepka. Let's do something. And I also understand Bryson DeChambeau. Hey, I'm quick. It's just where you're looking at me, I'm not as quickest. Let's figure it out, though. I mean, seriously. One caveat to all this is gambling. Golf is going to be a perfect gambling sport once everything starts populating throughout the United States. The time between shots, so forth and so on. You want in-play gambling, and it's going to be terrific. But if you start speeding everything up, you're not going to get as much gambling. And I know you're saying, well, what does that got to do with anything? Well, it's got a lot to do with a lot of things. The bottom line is that the difference between me falling asleep on the couch watching a golf tournament when they're going quickly versus me engaged in that golf tournament because I'm betting all the time. What does the PGA Tour and its sponsors want? There you go. Secondly, came out of Liberty National was Tiger Woods. Now, sometimes you go with old dog, new tricks. In this case, you go with old Tiger, worse Tiger. Tiger seems to be done. He just can't do what he could do before. And what you got in 2019, everyone that is a Tiger fan should say, thank goodness he could come back and show us that. But outside of that, he's done. He's clearly done. This idea that he could have even played 3 in a row if he'd made it to the Tour Championship, ridiculous. There was no way. He couldn't even make it one round at Liberty National. His body is just not the body of a 40-something-year-old. It's just not. It just is not that. He could have been the best player. He may still be the best player that ever played the game. I mean, there's the argument of Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods. I don't think you're throwing Bobby Jones in that discussion. But Tiger Woods kind of breached an era from where strength was important to raw power became the next step. And his body just couldn't handle the week-to-week raw power that was required on this tour. I don't think anybody can really handle it. Jack Nicklaus probably could not have handled it. Bobby Jones, clearly, with that swing, would never have been able to handle it. The Rory McIlroys, Brooke Koepka, you see what they do. They have to play less and less because if they don't, their body is not going to be able to handle the rigors of 30-something weeks of just going after the ball because these guys are power players. So, Tiger Woods, President's Cup, I think, actually believe, he's supposed to be playing something in Japan. Maybe he gets in the Tour Championship. I don't know, but the bottom line is he's not going to be the same. If he plays in Japan, great, but if not, he's going to be the captain of the President's Cup. Fitting captain for the President's Cup. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We're going to get the teams pretty soon, at least 8 of the 12. But the bottom line is that everybody should salute Tiger Woods for everything he's done because his career is effectively over. And that's me as well. I'm over as well. I know it's over 7 minutes. I try my best. Next time I'll try to do better. No slow play here. I'm Alex Miceli.